6 of us traveled north from Maryland to Fairbanks, Alaska, for a few days in November. We wanted to find out what it's like, hoping to see an aurora. Just earlier that week, there had been widespread aurora sightings even in the southern U.S. After flying for some time over this seemingly endless and eerily flat bank of clouds, suddenly the majesty of a long Alaskan mountain range broke into view. Craggy snow-covered peaks punctuated the landscape. Landing at Fairbanks International Airport, at baggage claim, we were surrounded by exhibits of giant, toothy, taxidermied bears. Despite our desire to see live animals here, we expected the bears would be hibernating. That's just fine with us. An airport store display of moose and a dog sled gets us excited to see the real ones, as well as seeing splashes of brilliant northern lights dappling the sky. But spoiler alert, conditions were such that we were destined neither to ride on a dog sled nor to see any auroras, even if they are prominently displayed on some Alaskan artistic license plates as if a common and spectacular occurrence. In addition, Alaskans are proud of the enormity of their bears, such as seen on this other license plate. Notice the extension cord dangling out of the grill of this truck? It's for supplying power to a block heater, essential equipment that keeps the engine from cracking due to extreme cold when it isn't running. Parking lots throughout the town provide free outlets for this purpose. Very much appreciated. With that necessary addition, we stuff our SUV with luggage, then drive off into the rapidly dimming light toward our lodging in Chena Hills, west of Fairbanks. Wavy plumes from the smokestacks accentuate the glowing sunset, which occurs this time of year at around 3:30 p.m. This was a clear, constellation-filled, but very cold night. A beautiful sunrise greeted us the next morning. With our drone, we took a quick look around the beautiful Chena Hills area. Aided by the block heater, our SUV's engine had survived the frigid night, so without delay we drove towards Fairbanks for a day of visiting museums. Covering the ubiquitous pine trees, layers of snow and ice glint and sparkle along the road. Our first stop was at the Morris Thompson Cultural and Visitor Center. Noticing that some parking spaces are reserved for elders, we wonder, do we qualify? Glancing at us, the staff assured us that we did. So we took advantage of the shorter walk from here to the building entrance. Inside, we admired a craft show by indigenous artisans. Such intricate beadwork. The low number of daylight hours listed on this stand-up display and the aurora forecast is encouraging. We're psyched to see one. What's that snow-covered structure built with moose and other antlers? Why, it's the famous antler arch on the grounds of the Cultural Center. Even in these Arctic conditions, we couldn't skip the opportunity to get a close-up view of it. A group photo was essential. While one of us playfully tried to add to the chilliness, he quickly learned the snow is so dry that it can't be packed into a throwable snowball.
If I could do a cartwheel, I would do it.
The arch has a webcam trained on it for live streaming all the time. Here's a shot of us viewing ourselves online in real time. It's kind of an ultimate selfie. But the photographer's hands were too cold to get a decent focus of the cell phone screen. Inside is a portrait of Morris Thompson, the building's namesake. Among his accomplishments, Thompson played an important role in securing land and cultural rights for indigenous Alaskans, such as the Athabascans. Sweeping across the view of the interior of the center, there's a video exhibit about a summer solstice event called the Midnight Sun Run. We, however, focused on the actual current temperature, 7 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. Obie and Marilyn, our travel friends who were trained in geography, can't resist shopping at this store. Meanwhile, pal Jim gets some visiting tips from buoyant host Magali, who hails from warm and sunny southern France, but says she loves it here. She invites us to view an informative video on the auroras. As it turns out, videos were as close as we could get to see them on this trip. The center has a number of exhibits about life in Alaska, past and present, that shouldn't be missed. Here we walk through an actual smokehouse that used to be part of a real fish camp, and we end up at a full-size cabin that was provided for public use. Some exhibits are humorous, such as this sign about how they know when it's the end of winter. And this handwritten message about turning the freezer back on when it warms up in April. Continuing on, the Museum of the North looms on a hilltop of the Fairbanks campus of the University of Alaska. Its sharp angles are reminiscent of Frank Gehry's architecture. It, too, is a must-see when in Fairbanks. Outside of the museum is an info sign about the dramatic view of the Alaskan Range, including towering Denali. Inside, we learned that dinosaurs and other huge prehistoric creatures once were abundant in this area. Speaking of enormous skeletons, suspended from the ceiling is a 43-foot-long bowhead whale skeleton. A popular exhibit is Blue Babe, an over 36,000-year-old Ice Age steppe bison in remarkably good condition, especially considering how it apparently was pretty badly gnawed on by an American lion. What Alaskan museum would be complete without a ginormous grizzly bear or walruses and seals in the dioramas? The upstairs level concentrates on the artistic side of the last 2,000 years of Alaskan culture. Art in Fairbanks is not limited to indoor displays. Murals on several building exteriors express life in our northernmost state. Many sport pictures of ravens, which were important to the indigenous people, as creators of the world, bringers of daylight, but also tricksters. At this mural, we stop for another pose. Yes, it was shivering cold. Brr, hurry up with that picture. A few minutes' drive outside of Fairbanks is the overview pullout for the Alyeska or Trans-Alaskan oil pipeline with this information graphic. The pipeline runs nearly 800 miles, originating from a source north of the Arctic Circle all the way down to the port of Valdez, Alaska. In places, the 48-inch diameter steel tube is constructed above ground as it appears here. This is to prevent permafrost melting problems that otherwise would be caused by the hot oil flowing through the pipeline, even over frozen ground. After viewing the massive pipeline, we drive about 16 miles north towards Murphy Dome. The dome's radar is remotely operated by the U.S. Air Force. At 2,890 feet above sea level, it's one of the highest peaks near Fairbanks, making it a popular area for people to come for aurora chasing. We behold more breathtaking views of the mountains from this area. Returning to Fairbanks, another stop of interest is Kramer's Field Migratory Waterfowl Wildlife Refuge. We felt lucky to catch a brief but mesmerizing appearance of a musher exercising his dog sled team on the trail loop, quietly gliding over the snow. Later, we saw a dog sled team from a different point of view. This fun, upside-down sculpted team was suspended from the ceiling of the Jaina Pump House restaurant. Inside the visitor center at Kramer's old farmhouse, we learned more about the history of Kramer's and the area's fauna. Alaskan wildlife pro photographer Bud Marshner happened to be there at the same time, and he gave us some great photo tips, especially about capturing the sun pillar phenomenon that appeared across from us. At sunset, an atmospheric inversion layer causes the emissions from plumes of smoke to spread out as if under an invisible lid. Unfortunately, Fairbanks does have a fair amount of air pollution due to particulate matter, such as is emitted from the extensive burning of coal. As a side effect, it can create beautiful sunsets. Coupled with atmospheric ice crystals, phenomena such as this dramatic sun pillar appear. As you might imagine by its title, the Large Animal Research Station, or LARS, at the University of Alaska in Fairbanks, presented us with views of, wait for it, live large animals. At last! In this case, they are primarily reindeer, musk oxen, and a bison who also resides there. Today, Emma guides us expertly. She enthusiastically tells us all about these animals.
So, welcome to LARS, everybody. So, this is the Large Animal Research Station. Our farm is home to reindeer, we have musk ox, and we have wood bison. Hi, sweet girl. So we have musk ox, reindeer, and wood bison. With the musk ox and the reindeer, it's about a 50-50 split. So we have about 45 reindeer and about 45 musk ox. And then we have about 13 wood bison. But here on the farm, we have specifically reindeer as opposed to caribou. Reindeer are the domesticated form of caribou. Step into it, and then that's it. It's basically just a little cleaner to wash your shoes so that we aren't getting any grime. This is a research facility. So they were together for a long time. He was in with our other three calves, so the three calves from that year. And so he is really buddy with them. But he started to get his horns. I have a skull inside that you guys will get to see that spiral shape, but it basically allows them to kind of conserve as much energy as possible. So that fur allows them to conserve their energy. Their large body mass allows them to conserve their energy, and those spirals let them do that. And they do also the same thing as the caribou do with their legs, with their blood circulation. Underneath of that is called kiviot. So that's that really tiny fiber that I was talking about that's 5 times warmer than wool.
We made one more stop after leaving Lars. That was at the famous Santa Claus house. It's in the very real town of North Pole, situated a short drive east of Fairbanks. Not surprisingly, the Santa Claus house is brightly decorated inside and out. It has been around since 1952. You know you've arrived when you spot one of the tallest statues in the world of jolly old Saint Nick. At 42 feet high, the big guy seems to be looking at a list. Could it be of those who've been naughty or nice? This 51-foot-tall Christmas tree is living and continues to grow every year. With today's coating of snow, twinkling lights, and shiny ornaments, this would make a perfect setting for a cheery Yuletide card. Since its opening, the shop has even provided a place where special letters from and to Santa can be mailed with the North Pole postmark. One more thing we must do before leaving the House of Merriment is take a group picture by that luminous tree. As we leave North Pole, we'd like to mention a few restaurants that we can now recommend. On the west side of Fairbanks is the Cookie Jar, a good place for great breakfast portions. Downtown is the Creperie for unusual and delicious crepes. You can experience casual yet fine dining at the Pump House Restaurant and Saloon by the Chain of River, as well as a lot of taxidermy and decor reminiscent of, and sometimes even dating back to, the old gold rush days. In the mood for Chinese food? If so, we highly recommend the Pagoda. Pike's Landing, near the airport, also has good food and drink. It was established in 1959, when Alaska became our 49th state. This casual restaurant is adjacent to Pike's Waterfront Lodge, with its huge collection of stuffed animals in the lobby. After dinner, we relaxed before embarking on a final attempt at a Northern Lights chase with a pro driver. However, even after nearly 5 hours of constant driving, it was no dice again. Well, we certainly tried. We concluded that auroras can be elusive. Next to Pike's Landing is an illuminated arch through which the Love Alaska sign across the Chain of River can be seen. Here's one more look around this beautiful Alaskan winter wonderland. Despite not seeing colorfully glowing night skies or taking a dog sled ride, we had an enjoyable visit and recommend you consider going there as well. We especially wish to applaud our globe-trotting friends Obie and Marilyn. With this visit to the last frontier, they can now proudly claim to have set foot in all 50 of the United States. To commemorate this occasion, their niece cleverly created this plaque. As we dream of future adventures, we bid you good wishes for great trips of your own.